Everybody say hi to Dan Lewandowski, Chairman of the Democratic Central Committee.
Oh, hi, Dan! How was lunch? Come and join us! Join us! Join us! Jobs for infrastructure, Dan. Jobs for infrastructure. Jobs for infrastructure. Thank you, Dan. You know what?
Prosecute Wall Street.
Jobs to build that.
Let him talk, folks.
Let him talk.
Federal authority in Winnebago County. We have some serious issues on the federal level.
Corporate greed.
Yeah, tax cuts of 12%.
Endless war.
I had a chance to have lunch with Attorney Tim
Senators to the state troopers were the nicest that I could say.
a little more about the issues when I come back and see where we're at. I'm not here
You're the only guest who came to talk with us.
All righty.
We got Dick.
We want Dick.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Listen, thank you for being here first. We had this dedication of this courthouse for Stan Muskoski, and a wonderful man who was a federal judge here for years, now retired, World War II veteran. And what I said during the course of it is the fact that you are here, our fellow citizens, exercising your constitutional right to assemble peacefully, to speak, to petition your government to change. It's really fitting that you're right here, because this building is supposed to be there to defend the right. So that there will be judges and people who are going to make sure that we feel we've been sold out. Yes, we did that right. We did that right. You're standing here and you're not being shot, more or less. We did almost. Let me just tell you, I want to say it again. We agree on much more than you just believe. Because you followed my way. And people ask me, and I say, I don't know. You know, I know the basic principles that bring you together, but they...
Somebody give him the loudspeaker.
You want a bullhorn, sir?
Can we give you a ball?
Senator?
Hear you?
Sure.
Okay.
Here you go.
We're just having a hard time.
Oh, too loud, too loud. Okay, here. I'll hold and you have to actually press it, you just talk right in. I think I'm this way? Yes. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. When they ask me about what you're
A little higher.
When they ask me about what you're here for, I say there are two things that I've heard repeatedly from all of the different Occupy groups around the country. And the first is the issue of income inequality and income insecurity in America. Yep. I am with you completely on that issue. I think what has happened here is that we have lost sight of the fact that many of the hardest working families in America are falling further and further behind every year. More and more working families are living paycheck to paycheck, and some are not making it. And they are rightly frustrated by this. They want to have a chance to realize the American dream the way most of us did. And I think that is essential. The second thing that you focus on is this question about the special interest in Washington.
Yes.
Special interests like the banks and the credit card companies, and the list is pretty long, I will tell you. One of the bills that has been on the list for many Occupy groups is my bill for public financing and campaigns. I don't believe for a second that this will be passed soon or with bipartisan support. I can't get a sponsor on the other side of the aisle. They just won't even consider it. But I think that this is fundamental to what's wrong with this nation. We have got to find a better way, a fairer way to finance campaigns, so congressional candidates and members of Congress, senators, and those aspiring to the Senate don't have to spend every waking hour on the telephone begging for money. And that is the current system, and that is a terrible system. We've got to reform this. I'm glad to answer any questions. Let me take, how about, is one person the leader here?
No, we're all here.
99%!
Senator, you're a slanderer. Senator, you began.
I got my camera on.
Senator, you began your talk here saying that you've been asked who are these people out
Excuse
in the
me,
street.
you can't
and
touch
said,
me, ma'am.
And you
Really,
said
you cannot
that
touch
you
me.
didn't know.
You're not allowed
Don't
to
you
touch
think that
me.
that's part of the problem?
Please do not
that
touch
you don't know that
me.
while we're out here, you don't know us. You know the lobbyists on the
You're not
street.
part of it. He's not part of it. Ma'am, I have a right to be here.
Everybody's rights.
Everybody has a right, regardless of political views on this. And here's what I think the next step in what is happening here is a difficult step. And that is deciding what your basic principles are that bind you together. And then deciding how you will engage in this process. And some of you will say, I'm never going to vote again. I hope not many. And some may say that. That's a big mistake. What you ought to be doing is looking for the candidates that share your views, people that share your values, and supporting those candidates. That's what the system is all about. So don't walk away from it. Walk into it with the idea.
We need to change the system, Dick.
Are you saying that you believe that a vote that passes 51 to 49 represents the people?
It's called majority voting.
That's a scam. That's crap. I'm sorry, sir.
Especially when it's
You part of the
Anybody else have a
99%,
question?
sir?
Well, Senator,
What's your
you didn't answer my question. You said at the beginning of your talk here that you've been asked who are who's in the Occupy movement, and you said you didn't know. And isn't that the problem, Senator? You're too far removed from us, and you're too close to K Street.
Well, let me tell you, it is understandable that you take a look at the stiff in a suit and tie here and say, what do you know about the real world? And that's a legitimate question to ask every member of Congress and every member of the Senate.
Even a rock star from the ground. Those are your words.
Let him talk.
Let him talk.
Will you let me answer?
Let him talk.
The point I want to get to is I think it is fair and responsible for you to ask those questions, but also to take a look at my voting record.
Absolutely.
You know, do that. And then if you say, all right, Durbin, I disagree with you on this or that, that's fine. That's fair. But don't assume. You know, right now, I'm in a process of dealing with debit cards, okay? You may have heard about this.
Yeah.
The major credit card companies and the major banks in America are all after me. And that's right. You know, I'm going to take them on because I think what I'm doing is fair to consumers and fair to retailers. But the point is, I am not captive of this lobby. I'm not sure they have supported me much in the past, they probably, but they're certainly not looking forward to support me in the future. Whether it's that issue or another issue, all I ask you to do is take a fair look at my record and ask me the question. Yes, sir.
I know that National City Bank can still use TARP funds to buy National City Bank, and that is wrong.
It is wrong. And
Did you know Washington's the most richest city in the country? Please don't push me, ma'am. Can you arrest her for pushing me, please?
Would you grow up? Jesus Christ, you little baby.
Are you an Occupy?
Ma'am, please.
He's not.
I voted
Sorry.
program, I will not research on that. When we were told that if these banks fail, we're going to have jobs lost all across America, maybe around the world. The money's all been paid back. But I'll tell you what, they didn't send a thank you note to us for the TARP funds. They sent us notice that they were using the funds to give bonuses to people who made the stupidest decisions on Wall Street.
Yep.
And that, to me, represents an attitude toward the American consuming public that is just wrong. Just a couple weeks ago, Bank of America blamed me for charging those who had debit cards at their bank $5 more a month. You know what happened? I said, it's time for the customers of Bank of America to vote with their feet. Find another bank, a credit union that's going to treat you fairly. The Drudge Report came out and said, Durbin calls for a run on Bank of America. Bank of America has more than $1 trillion in deposits. My statement is going to change that. But the idea of having transparency and dealing with banks and real competition, I think that's what we need. I mean, that happens to be part of the free market economy. So I'm not their favorite at this point, probably never will.
Yeah, Senator Durbin, would you be willing to have dinner with us once a month? Once a month. And so we can, not us in particular, but the Occupy people around the country,
Occupy Chicago,
around the state, so
listen,
that we can give our views?
Yes. I'm more than willing to schedule regular meetings, but there are Occupy efforts underway in many cities. You know, and I have to figure out my schedule and your schedule and make this work. I met with the Tea Party folks, I say to this gentleman over here, I met with the Tea Party folks and did exactly what I'm doing here. Stood in the middle of, of course. And I stood right in the middle of it, said, ask your questions, just, you know, I'll be courteous when you ask questions, you be courteous when I reply. Let's see if we get it
Thank you, Senator.
Can you speak about Oakland and what are your views on the brutality up there?
Well,
on that?
I will tell you what I've heard. And,
No, I want to know what you think. You didn't try to look it up on YouTube and see what's all over. They threw tear gas grenades, they threw concussion grenades, they brain damaged a vet.
There's clearly an overreaction.
On whose part? Thank you, sir.
Demonstrator who was injured. And, you know, it should be investigated. If there was any
It could have been a
violation of law,
child. There were children in that house.
Of course. And that's for police. Yes, sir.
Senator Herbert, what I've seen in this community over the last 50 years in the global economy, how can we compete with underdeveloped nations or communist nations where people have no income parity with what we expect for our standard?
At this point, an interesting thing is happening. Jobs are coming back to the United States. In fact, even in the automobile industry, we're closing down production facilities in other countries to bring the jobs back here. And that, to me, is the right way to go. We want to create more manufacturing jobs in the United States. Now, the Korean, let me give you an example. The Korean trade agreement is the one that they think will have a direct impact on manufacturing and factory jobs. It was endorsed by the United Automakers, as well as the automobile companies. They believe it is fairly written. I think it has to be fairly enforced, too. My experience in the past is what looked like a good trade agreement, not enforced, is not a good trade agreement.
Isn't that your job?
It is. Partially my job.
If these multinational corporations can go overseas, why can't the unions go overseas? We're trading, blood here. We're dealing with China that is going to lynch people starting that is going to repress people. And these are the people we're doing business with. The people that our mayor is going overseas and talking to. And they need unions. They need the same wages we do here, But these multinationals, they've got the young guard, they can go overseas. But what are we left with?
Yeah. So the point I want to get to is the enforcement of this is done by the executive. It's laws that we've created that take entirely to years ago when they were dumping steel in the United States. And we went after Brazil, Japan, Russia for dumping. It took us years to get through with it, and we were finished and we lost our steel companies. Right? So the enforcement of these laws is critical, and as far as I'm concerned, that's Congress and the President's responsibility. And what you're planning, Sunstrand is a major in this community. Sunstrand builds Boeing aircraft.
And it used to be bigger.
Boeing Aircraft is selling their planes all over the world. We cannot close the door to selling our products in other countries. That won't create jobs in America. What we have to have is free, fair trade with these nations so that we have a chance to sell as they have a chance to sell. I have a lot of faith in American workers. I think we've got people who are smarter than other places.
Boeing CEO made $20 million income last year.
Of course, they're making money hand over fist. The CEOs are way beyond the average worker. And it's getting worse. In fact, the original point I made, you're right on, you're spot on, this notion of and that's one of the reasons why those who are peddling 999 flatbacks, take a look at what this means. It means working families and poor, lower income folks will pay more and people at the top pay less. My position, for clarity, is just the opposite. Working families and those in low and middle income families, they deserve a tax break. And the folks at the top who have the comfort and, I guess, security of being the richest people in America should pay more.
Absolutely.
Senator Durbin.
This guy with the sign is driving me nuts because he was on my way to work.
Yeah, they got to go back on that.
How would you report
I can't hear you.
I did. Really?